Okay, let's look at a problem vehicle where we actually do have some good data on the scan tool alerting us to the fact it is, in fact, an air-fuel ratio problem. This vehicle, you can drive this car for as long as 30 minutes to 45 minutes after a PCM reset before the vehicle starts acting up, and it's only in idle stall type condition. There are no DTCs on this vehicle. Now, this is one of my tech calls. When I get to the shop, I start the carpet idle, park no load, and I see a total fuel trim value, exactly what you're seeing right now on the screen. The short-term fuel trim is taking away 12% fuel, and the long-term fuel trim is taking away 17%. So we have a total fuel trim subtraction of minus 29%. We know right there that the likely problem will be too much fuel, in other words, a rich condition. Now, continuing on a little bit, if you look at the O2 sensor voltage on the scan tool, it indicated 1.17 volts, which should have been something, a red flag should have popped up and say, how can a 0 to 1 volt sensor all of a sudden be generating 1.17 volts via the scan tool? Now, we've got some good data here on the scan tool. Again, we verified that whatever is causing this idle stall condition must be a rich condition, obviously, because of the minus 29% fuel. And the second clue here is that how can the O2 sensor voltage be at 1.17 volts? So let's go down and actually go to the O2 sensor signal wire and see what kind of voltage we have actually on the O2 sensor signal wire. Okay, what we've actually done here now, just to kind of remind you, many of the General Motors PCMs have what we call 1 volt bias voltage for the O2 sensor circuit. With the O2 sensor plugged in, the loading effect of the O2 sensor pulls that 1 volt bias voltage down to about 450 millivolts. So, and I know many of you technicians have seen this before, if you just go initially key on engine off and you look at the O2 sensor voltage via your scan tool, most examples on GMs, you're going to see about 450 millivolts key on engine off. Now, what we were concerned about on this Cavalier, that during key on engine off, even without the engine running, we saw 1.17 volts. So we think we got the possibility of a circuit integrity issue. So if you look at the screen right now, what we've done is we've gained access to the PCM. The purple wire is the O2 sensor signal wire. You can see here in this example that I have purposely cut that wire. I want to isolate that circuit to see what the bias voltage is coming from the PCM. So as we continue on with a multimeter tapped into the PCM slide of that purple wire, which I have cut, if you look at the multimeter right now tapped into the PCM slide of that purple O2 sensor signal wire after it's been cut, notice the multimeter is showing you 7.34 volts. This is an indication of a PCM issue to where instead of the 1 volt bias voltage being applied to that circuit by the PCM for whatever reason, being a board problem inside a PCM, we have 7.3 volts bias voltage on that, meaning that we have a bad PCM.